Welcome to Master Your Mind. I'm Dr. Jane Mims, and this is Coach Kendra McLaughlin. And our topic today is how to turn problems into opportunities. And we just had a problem.
And look at what we learned today. Well, you learned a little bit about the new interface that Zoom has. So
here's what we do. I'll tell you what the problem was. Usually, Kendra and I get on to Zoom together, and we chat for a minute and catch up. And then I say, okay, let's do it. And then I push this live into Master Shri Akashina's Creator Circle. Well, I got on today in Zoom. Does this ever happen to you? You like pop onto your computer and you do something that you've always done, but some setting updated. And so now all of a sudden you have a couple new hoops to jump through. That's what happened with Zoom today. And so I did everything. And then it said, you do not have permission to go live in this group. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is where we always go live. Okay, so let me see if I can go live in this other group of ours, the Gilded Life. Nope. And I'm like, hold on just a minute. That's my group. Why are you telling me I can't go live in my own group? And so I said, well, let's see if it works on the GILD Coaching main page. And here we are. So if you're watching this on replay, give us a hashtag replay in the comments. We will cross-post this in the groups after the fact, but or if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know, hey, I'm joining here. Make a little comment. But we turned a problem into an opportunity, maybe to share this with people who didn't know that we do this every Monday, almost every Monday, or maybe people don't know about those groups that we're in. So.
And it's always a really interesting subject that we talk about. So you'll gain some knowledge, insight, maybe something totally new. Maybe you could chat in the comment box if you can share with us any of your insights or thoughts about the subject that we're going to be talking about today and every Monday. But this was a great example of the reason I thought about this weekend is I've noticed a difference in myself when it comes to when problems arise. I don't even call them problems anymore. I call them challenges, and I don't get all wound up about it. It's really amazing. Like things, I'll give you an example. This weekend, David and I were installing a shower. We do tile work on the side, and I had a loaner vehicle, a Mercedes, by the way, Mercedes. It was great. And we took a little bit of time off to go to my grandson's lacrosse game. And so we're on the way to the lacrosse game. David saw Girl Scout cookies on the side of the road being sold.
What kind did you get? I love Girl Scout cookies.
We got Thin Mints and the caramel coconut ones.
Those are my two favorites.
Yeah. And lemon would have been the next third box, but I didn't think we needed 3 boxes. Anyway.
You didn't really need 2 boxes.
Well, we were going to bring them to the game, to be fair, share with everybody.
Yeah, but I don't ever share my Samoas. I'm like, Samoas? What Samoas?
They're so
good. Get that kind.
Oh, they're good. Well, on the way before we got to the Girl Scout cookies, we smelled something odd, but sometimes you're driving through a neighborhood and you smell burning tires. I don't know.
Okay.
And it went away quickly. And so we're like, oh, it must be something that we drove through in that neighborhood or whatever. And we're out in the country. But when David pulled in to see about the Girl Scout cookies, he noticed he didn't have any power steering. And then he noticed that the battery light was on. So we get into the parking lot and literally the serpentine belt broke, evidently. Mm-hmm. So we had to call. We called
and just for anybody who's like, what did she just say? It's a really important part of your vehicle that you need in order to drive.
Yeah, everything just literally shuts down.
Shuts down if that belt breaks.
Yeah. So luckily, we were able to pull it right into a parking spot, so we weren't stuck on the side of the road, and we got to buy our Girl Scout cookies. But anyway, so we ended up missing the game, lacrosse game, but we called the garage and they said, have it towed. I have AAA. God send. I love AAA. And it towed us and they gave me a new, a different vehicle. And we missed a lacrosse game and things didn't turn out at all like we expected, but it didn't matter. I learned something about a vehicle, the serpentine belt and all that stuff. So I learned something about it. Everything was, even though things don't turn out the way we want, normally a few years ago, I would have probably been a lot more anxious.
Yeah, distraught, like wrought with anxiety. Yeah.
Because I had no control. I'm going to miss the game. That game is really important to me, but there'll be other games. But I think of challenges or problems as challenges, and I really feel lately differently about them, which is so cool.
Yeah. There's a really great, I think it's a Winston Churchill quote. It may have been someone else. So it's a quote by someone famous, known for wisdom. And I'm going to probably botch the quote, but I'm going to give you the gist of it, the Jane version. Pessimists see the problem in every opportunity. Optimists see the opportunity in every problem.
Yeah, it's so true.
And it really is a mindset shift. And I mean, Kendra, like you, I used to just be wrought with anxiety. It's part of what took me on this journey to shift from corporate life to private practice and helping people is really focusing on anxiety, the dangers that it brings to our life, the way that it steals our moments, not only in that moment, but the increase of stress actually reduces our lifespan. And it just really it was really the birth of my desire to help the world one individual at a time by enriching their lives. And I lost so much of my potential opportunities because I was so focused on the problems, the game that I'm missing, the disappointment of the people I was supposed to be there with, the fact that I have to eat all the Girl Scout cookies on my own. Just kidding. Instead of sharing them. Just kidding. But, I would always look at those types of things as a woe is me. I don't know about you, but I would look forward to something joyful like a vacation. But then when I get to, let's say it's a 7-day vacation, how great you have the 7 days somewhere that you aren't normally spending time and you get to experience that place. I'd normally get to about day 4. And then I would start being anxious about, just drinking every single moment because in 3 more days I won't be there. Yeah. And so I was focusing on the deprivation of no longer having vacation, being finished, instead of just being so happy and grateful for the moment that I have. And I was really missing out on a lot of beauty.
Staying present in your moment, because really, honestly, we only have this very moment that we have right here.
Mm-hmm. The future, and I'm grateful for it.
Yes. And so that's what happened in this whole thing that happened was that David and I had so much fun. We opened the back of the vehicle. We sat in the sun, eating our Girl Scout cookies, wondering if we should go across the street and get an ice cream, because there was an ice cream store that just opened across the street. Everything's just starting to open up for spring. Mm-hmm. We didn't, just to let you know, but we were enjoying the moment. Even though we had this sort of crisis going on, we were, it didn't feel like, it did not feel like it. Here's the other thing. When we are constantly choosing to be anxious, we get used to that feeling. So sometimes when problems happen or challenges happen, because we're so used to that feeling of being anxious and being unhappy or being whatever the feeling it is that you bring up, we go into autopilot and we just automatically do it. And I think personally, what has helped me go autopilot into happiness or looking at it as an opportunity is my meditation.
Absolutely.
My morning routine and my meditation. I think 100% because it's been recent that I've been fully feeling this. And it's really been over the past, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months that David and I have been doing meditation we don't miss a day. Mm-hmm. And it's just an amazing feeling to have something come up and you're more clear-headed. You can think better. You can think outside the box. You can be solution focused. Yeah. It's amazing. It's so amazing.
It is. Well, and I want to go back to something that you just said. when you're viewing problems for the problem themselves and not looking for the opportunities within the problem. Every moment is a gift, even if you're in the middle of what seems to be in that moment a tragedy. Every moment is a gift. Every moment has the possibility of growing forward. But what you said just a minute ago is really insightful, and I just want to highlight it for everybody. When you focus on problems, you become addicted to the anxiety. You become addicted to the stress creating elements of it, so that when you do have those moments where you can look around and go, wow, everything's as it should be. Let me enjoy this. Instead, your mind says, but everything's never as it should be. And so you start looking for the problem in the perfection.
Yeah.
And it shifts everything. And I'd like to give you a very serious real life example of this. Most people know that my husband and I have adopted a child with special needs. And when we brought her into our home as a foster child, she was 8.5 years old, and she lived a really tough life. I'm not going to tell everybody the whole life story, but lots of foster homes. She was adopted by a family, unadopted because she had so many problems. So she was already convinced that she wasn't lovable. She wasn't worth anything. Nobody loved her. She had no family. She just thought she was terrible. Sweet kid though, somehow through it all, very, very sweet. And I noticed the mayhem that she brought into our peaceful home was really psychological, a form of psychological torture, because she was in that mode, and it was a lifelong learned thing. And usually if you have a parent that's always looking for the negative, or some sort of a role model, somebody who's in that supervisory role of you, somewhere in your life, you'll adopt those patterns. So you may not even realize that you've been doing it, or you may say, well, I can't help it. Yes, you can. You can change your mindset. But for this little girl who's now 10, but then she was 8.5, she brought this mayhem into our home because we have a really peaceful, fun, laid back home.
It is. It's great. I've been there.
Like, we love each other. We like to eat good food, have good times, play games, enjoy life. And she had never been in a situation where she could enjoy life. She was always in a trauma situation, a danger situation. So she was predisposed to looking for, where's the trauma, where's the danger? And she didn't know how to be a kid. I got an abused dog like this once, who had been just beaten from a puppy, and he never knew how to play with toys. He never in his entire lifetime learned how to play with toys. And she's kind of like that. She doesn't know how to play on her own, because she never had the opportunity to play. So you have to guide her. Here's how you play with these toys, like little role play toys, like the little people, Fisher Price little people. I had to teach an 8.5-year-old how to play with those. But you can give them personalities. You can give them things like this. She was just too busy making sure that she was safe to figure out how to do that. And it's this pattern that really started to chip away at the emotional well-being of everyone else in our household.
Yeah.
It really does not only impact the person who is living in that negativity, but it impacts everyone around them, everything that they touch. So it's very, very important that you become aware of your relationship with problems and see what that is, because you may not only be missing out on moments of your own, you could also, by association, be causing the deprivation of those wonderful moments for other people.
Yeah, it's actually amazing to look at that whole journey and how it did affect your whole family. And the other thing I want to point out is, so anxiety, all of those feelings that Dr. Jane was just talking about when you're not feeling safe, also come from the body automatically. Your mind thinks danger, and then your body automatically secretes hormones. And so it's a physical thing as well. So it's mindset. Changing your mindset will help with the physical things. But if you're in this situation and you can relate to this, and you don't understand what's happening to you, it's also a physical thing. Your nervous system, your brain is affected by the hormones that get put out when you're when your mind is thinking danger, I'm in danger, or where's the next danger? When's the shoe gonna fall? And I've had clients ask me, hey, I'm here in this happy moment, but I can't stay in that. I always am thinking about when the next thing is going to happen. I always have to be ready. That's what so many people do. It's such a danger to our, like you said, our health, the health of everyone around us, in our life.
It's really a catch-22 because it all has to do with mind, and people come and say, oh, we want subconscious reprogramming. Subconscious reprogramming isn't possible unless you understand those patterns that are literally stored throughout the different energy centers in your body.
Yeah.
Because you have to create that bridge between your conscious physical self and your subconscious and superconscious spiritual and mental self, so that they can have a conversation. And so what Coach Kendra and I do with a lot of our clients is our Freedom Design Matrix methodology, which actually takes you laser focused into the physical self without interacting with it from an observer standpoint, so that we can unlock what the actual patterns are, make those connections, and then allow you to have the power, empower you to release them, so that you know what that feeling is. Because what happens is something in your world happens. I'll use my elevator example. I've used it a million times. Hopefully it's not too tired by now, but I spent most of my life afraid of elevators. I would climb 16, 20 flights of stairs instead of getting in an elevator. Let me tell you, little sweaty showing up to some business meetings. Not necessarily so great.
Heels.
In heels and a pantsuit, or a skirt suit or something, not the best look to be dewy on the 16th floor of a building. Should have taken the elevator, but I did have some killer calves from all the workouts. But I didn't know why I was scared of getting in the elevator. What I did know is every time I get in the elevator, my palms get clammy and sweaty. I get kind of a green jiggly feeling in my belly, like I'm going to be sick. And the bottom of my feet, if I made it so far as to let the doors close and allow the elevator to move, which sometimes I did, and then I quickly punch a sooner floor than I needed and get out and be like, and then take the stairs. But if I would get that far, the bottom of my feet, it's the weirdest feeling, almost as though the flesh was separating from my bone. And that feeling, sometimes if I'll watch a movie and it's like a skydiving perspective, or like from the top of a building, every once in a while, I'll get that feeling again. And I'm like, I don't like this, but I know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can get in elevators and go 100 floors, like whatever, however long the elevator will go, because we dove in to figure out where this fear came from in the first place. It was a fear that wasn't serving me. Now there are fears that serve you. The fears that serve you keep you from running into traffic, putting your hand on a hot stove, things like that. That's fear-based. Well, I'm not going to touch that because it'll hurt. I'm going to get the oven mitt before I get the pan out of the oven. Why? Because I don't want to burn my hand. That's fear-based, totally healthy. Not healthy fear-based leaves me sweaty on the 16th floor because I just climbed all those stairs because I'm afraid of an elevator, but why?
Yeah.
So seeing problems as opportunities instead, but getting into the physical body to decode what signals are sent to you. So the signal inside your physical body triggers action patterns. I make it to the 3rd floor and I start hitting buttons to get out of the elevator. Why? Because the signal's gotten bigger. I feel sicker. My feet really feel like they don't have any flesh on the bottom of them anymore. It just gets more and more elevated until I get scared enough to stop it. And then all of a sudden the feeling stops. I'm safe. Am I? Am I safe, or am I falling into an unrealistic fear?
Yeah.
So that signal comes up, physical signal comes up, and prompts you into an unhealthy action pattern. So mindset, it's all about mindset, right? Or is it? It's so much about your physical body. and your mindset. I mean, it's one reason that Kendra has created our GILD Renewal Yoga program. It helps you have workbooks and exercises to go through and explore your mindset, but it connects it with physical movement so that you can see where these things are stored in your body and you're empowered to release them. That's taking a problem and turning it into an opportunity. Well, let me see where this came from, see where I can grow and take my expertise and then help others with it. So that's the big problem, is people think that you just have to come in and reprogram your subconscious, and they're ignoring all the rest of this instrument that they have.
Yeah. It's all attached. We're all one big energy.
It's all attached. It would be like going to the symphony orchestra and only having the oboe play. Well, you're missing out on 71 other instruments.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really interesting how this all plays in together. And the cool part is that once you can get an understanding of it and understand where those, some of your fears or your blocks or whatever you have going on, where they originated from, it helps you understand the whole thing altogether. And then you can move to change, the way that you're thinking about that certain situation. Like Dr. Jane was talking about with the elevator. Once she understood where it came from, she's like, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with the fear of actually being, physically fear of, getting killed in the elevator. It had something to do with something else that had to do with an elevator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once, it's just, to me, it's just fascinating because it can be changed, because you can change the way you look at things, change the way you react to things. You can take action instead of reaction. And it makes such a difference in your life in every area. So now I can take what happened this weekend with the car and use it in other areas of my life. Maybe I want to start a new business. Maybe I want to, I don't know, we're another big goal that we're doing, but it's scary. And instead of retreating and getting all anxious about it, you look at it as a challenge and you go forth. So it affects your whole life. It really
like that word that we like so much. Interesting. Okay, this thing happened. It's not ideal. I'm a bit stranded. I do have some tools. I have the opportunity to use them. Interesting. I wonder what opportunity exists for me here. Let me find it, because I'm stuck here anyway.
Yeah.
Who can I meet? What can I see?
The other part of this is, instead of trying to control the situation, which is what we do typically, allow the answer to come to you. Take a moment, take a breath, relax, take a few minutes, think about it, allow the answer to come to you. And when you're not trying to control the outcome, the answer will come to you and you'll say, okay, this is the next step that I need to do. Let me make this phone call. And then that falls into the next step. And then all of a sudden the challenge is solved and you're back. Everything's perfectly fine. So
we have an interesting comment, if I may.
Oh, good. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, from Stephanie, we have the comment. This is so me right now. If this is you and you're seeing this, give us some comments. Let us know. Let us know how this is landing with you.
Yeah.
She says, anxiety is a faceless thief. I like the statement, but as I always do, Kendra knows what's coming. Let's actually see what these words mean. And if we can shift this a little, this is a very victimized statement. Would you say, Kendra?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, anxiety is a faceless thief. Or is it? Mm-hmm. So anxiety is a faceless thief is a statement saying, I can't help it. Anxiety just comes over me and it steals my moments. Or can you say, you know what? Is the anxiety bigger than me, or am I bigger than the anxiety? Is it more powerful than me, or am I actually more powerful than it? I happen to know the person who made that statement, and I know she's more powerful than the anxiety. And I know that you are too. Anybody who's watching this, I know that you're more powerful than your anxiety because I know how powerful you are. So just sit in my belief of you for a moment. Anxiety is a faceless thief. Anxiety has a face. There are patterns that are triggering the anxiety that you're feeling. Now, if you allow it to run over you, it's a thief, but it definitely has a face. It might not be a face like we're used to faces. It might be a feeling somewhere. It may be a tightness in your hip. It may be this muscle twitch that happens. It could be, like my green wiggly feeling in my belly. You can take the mask off that faceless thief and look him in the eyes. And when you do that, and that really is what our Freedom Design Matrix does. It helps you look it in the eyes, give physical attributes, get to know it. Think about how powerful it would be if you really were face to face with a thief and you had the strength and confidence to stop and look him in the eye or her and say, no. If you were in front of your fear and in front of your strength enough to bring it up and to say, not today. You can do that. And that is actually, so thank you, Stephanie, for this comment. We really don't mean to beat you up. Really, really thank you for this, because it's a great point. So many people feel this way. Oh, anxiety is a faceless thief. It just steals. We allow that. You have 100% control. You have the potential of 100% control over what happens in your mindset. So you either decide to lay down and let the faceless thief steal your moments, or you say, bigger, I'm stronger than this. Not today.
And doing this is a process. It is definitely a process, is a way to go about this. I didn't feel like this overnight. It was a journey that I'm on. It's a process of things that I've specifically been doing in my life, which is what we help people with. This is what I help others with. And, but I can tell you that anybody can do it. I also hear this a lot from people about life. Wow, this is just what life handed me. My whole family's like this. This is the way it is. My brother's the same way. This is just the way it is. I guess I'm the black sheep of the family, or this is what I get. This is what and
what do they know that I don't know?
Yeah. I mean, those people over there they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They inherited all that. Life, if you're letting your life live you and you're not living your life or creating your own life, you're missing out. You're missing out on so much. You have the ability to create your own life. It happens in steps. It's a process of doing it, but you create your own life. If you're letting life just happen to you, you're missing out on so much. And
the big thing here, Kendra, this is actually the best way to turn problems. And I always do the air quotes around problems because I don't actually believe in problems. Right. They're puzzles.
Right.
It's the best way to turn problems into opportunities is to understand that you are going to be challenged to grow, period.
All the time.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, however many years in a lifetime. You are going to constantly be challenged to grow. Now, you can either take control and find your next space of growth, or you can lay down and say, oh, woe is me. This stuff always happens. Why does this stuff always happen to me? Because you let it. Oh, this is just exactly what I said was going to happen, because you have self-fulfilling prophecy. You're so powerful. You are prophesying your own demise. Why not shift that and prophesy your own success?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, when I was younger, I used to think that you just go out, I don't know, and let life happen to you. And
we're taught to do that in school.
Yeah,
make good grades, live by these standards, then go get a good job that'll pay well, that somebody else is in charge of. We're conditioned to be like that. So if people say, oh, well, Dr. Jane, Coach Kendra, it's just, they make it sound so easy. We do. We make it sound so simple. And let me just be so real with you. This is freaking hard.
It is hard.
First, it's so difficult to deprogram that programming.
Yeah.
But when you actually put in the work, and it takes work, it takes investment. You need to invest time in yourself. Many times you need to invest finances. You need to get a coach. You need to get a mentor. You need to really I say take the time, but invest the time, invest the money, invest the energy, invest the thought. Because this isn't something that you're going to like, this is not Amazon. You're not going to like go on your Amazon app and be like, oh, and it's there in 2 days.
It's work. It's some work.
But I don't even like the word work for this though. Because you know why though? Because it ends up being so invigorating. So work sounds like a punishment. It's intention.
Yeah. And you also have to have faith and courage. Courage. Here's my biggest tip after thinking about my journey that I've been on and working with you, Dr. Jane, and this whole thing is that I probably would have to say a lot of people would have given up by now in terms of like not see, oh, this is not happening quick enough for me, or this. You have to stay in the game. It's a journey and a process. And if you stay in the game, I promise you that your life you'll start taking the turn and seeing a whole other life that you've never seen in your entire life. And you're going to be so thrilled and happy. And that's where I'm at. And I'm so glad that I didn't give up. I'm so glad that I'm moving forward continuously through my journey. And then I'm not saying, wow, this is too tough, or I don't see anything happening. I had to have faith that what I was doing was going to lead me to the goals that I have in my life. And I was 100% correct. It's so exciting. So now, instead of me being used to anxiety feeling or always wondering when the next shoe is going to drop, now I'm used to happiness in every situation. Yeah, things happen, it sucks, but you find the joy in the moment. Now I'm training my body and my mind to be able to do that automatically instead of going to anxiety. See how that works?
Absolutely. And I mean, just like last week, one of my dear friends is going through a divorce right now, and she has a couple kids. And I got a text from her that was like, oh, my tire's flat. There's a nail in it. Now I've got to do this and this. And she was just faced with all these challenges over a couple of days. How am I going to get the kids to school, get to work, get the car where it needs to go when it has a flat tire and this and that. And I don't have, my husband's not here to help me because, that relationship, we've decided to end that. And he's living somewhere. Like, how do I do this? I was watching her go on, and this is a very positive person, one of my closest friends. And I was watching her go on this journey. Very interestingly, she, it was kind of like you just said, things happen, it sucks. Am I glad that she got a nail in her tire? No, that's, who wants that? But what I saw was a different dialogue, because she's using me for support. That's what friends are for. Support during this process. I've been through a divorce. I'm friends with her husband too. Just kind of encouraging them. But I saw her whole dialogue shift, and it gave her this vacation from this reality of, oh, we have to do this and this, and I don't know how to do this. And she gave up her career to stay home with the kids. And so she's, 10 years later, she's like, what am I going to do? And so hard. But it gave her like a 2-day break from only having that to think about. So I'm like, I'm not glad she got a nail in her tire, but that inconvenience problem gave her alleviation from having this stressful situation weigh on her. So even though it was a different stressful situation, it's so much a different kind of stress, an annoyance, a nuisance, rather than this huge life-changing, one of the 10 most difficult things to go through is divorce, psychologically speaking. And so I saw a gift. Not, I'm so happy she got a nail in her tire, but I'm so happy that even though it was an inconvenience, there was something that broke that pattern for her so she could breathe.
Yeah. And she learned that she's stronger than she thinks she is. She learned independence. She learned that she can solve problems even without the other person there. She learned so much during that couple of days in that in that challenge, which is what we're talking about today. It's really all how you look at it. It's life is going, like Dr. Jane was saying a little earlier, life is going to give you challenges. Life is going to teach you every single day. You have a choice of how you want to go through this. And
you're either going to go through it or you're going to grow through it, and you get to choose.
Yeah. And if you are feeling something in your heart, something needs to change, a relationship needs to change, or a job or career or whatever it is, and you know in your heart that needs to change, but you don't do anything about it, I guarantee you the universe will change it for you. So, it's interesting, the whole subject of today, and the fact that we can choose to think differently about our challenges that come up in life and use them as a learning tool. And, we and it's okay to say things suck, like if you're having a sucky situation, hey, this really stinks, I'm not really happy about this, but let's see, okay, what's the next step? Having
okay, on the surface this sucks, the tire on the surface this sucks, how can I find where it doesn't?
Yeah, it's not about not feeling the feelings. We have all those feelings. It's about being able to shift quickly from having that disgust of flat tire or my car broken down, to something, other than that is, getting out of that anxiety and finding the happiness in the moment, which we did, and it was great.
And the bigger the inconvenience or the bigger the problem, I would say, and correct me if you think I'm wrong or give another opinion, but I believe that the bigger the change or problem, the more difficult it is to make that shift, which is why it's so important to, if everything's going great now, but you know that you have these tendencies that when something bad happens, it just completely derails you. That's why it's so important to start this mindset journey. It's a destinationless journey because it's a continual process. But I find that now, Kendra, even the big problems, it's easier to make that shift because I practiced on the little ones.
Right. 100%. Here's the other thing that is the reason why you want to look at this in a different way. So when the tow truck, AAA, came and picked us up, and there was this young guy that took us, and he let us all drive in the car, even though it was COVID and they're really not supposed to. But he let us. We had David, myself, and Bugaboo.
Oh, their dogs, sweetest.
But
well, almost happy. My dog's right down here.
Oh yeah. Well, they're all good friends.
They're all good.
But we're driving along and we're talking to the guy about this journey that David and I are going on, and we have a Airstream that we've purchased, and we're trying to figure out something in the Airstream. And the guy's, this is a young guy sitting there, and he's giving us all this information about something that we didn't know. And at that moment, I'm like, aha, there are reasons why things happen. There are avenues that you get taken down to solve problems, to take you to the next step, to get to the goal that you're going to. And they may not be, it may not come in the way that you think it is going to come. This is a great example of that. The tow truck driver picked us up, and as we're driving, like a half-hour drive, we're talking about this subject, and he's like, oh yeah, you just do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And David's like, oh my God, thank you so much.
And the reason that you got to have that exchange with this person who had this information about an issue that you're facing is because you didn't fill that time with, oh my gosh, I'm so upset. I can't believe, I wish we hadn't taken that car. I can't believe that I'm missing the game. I can't believe I'm about to eat a whole box of Samoas. I can't, you didn't fill the air with focus on the problem. Instead, you said, hey, we've got this time. Neither one of us even has to drive. Let's chat about this. And you're next to this fount of information. Yeah.
Didn't even know it. I asked him what town he lived in, and that started a whole conversation. And then we started talking. David, there are blessings, there are things to learn, there is information, there are opportunities in everything that happens to us. And it's our choice of how we want to look at it and where we want to take that and whether we're open to receiving that, which is just really, really cool. So.
Well, apparently Stephanie has learned a lot. She's given us a lot of comments. So thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, good. Great to have you on, Stephanie. So good to have you here. I love it when people comment in the chat box.
Oh, me too. And it gives me a chance to like throw on my glasses so you guys can know that I can't see.
And I have them too. So we can sit here with our, mine has tile stuff on it. I need to wash them.
That's all right.
Today.
It'll wash off. That's not a problem. There's a solution. It's an opportunity.
That's right. And I can tell you right now, I've been learning how to run tile saws and mixing things and
that's so cool.
It's really, and David's such a good teacher. I mean, we spend all weekend together and he's teaching me how to do all this stuff. And I have a hard time measuring. I'm still learning to measure stuff. And so, but I was measuring and cutting tile on the actual saw outside. And
that's cool.
It was really fun. It's really fun to do this together. Yeah.
So opportunity, everything's an opportunity. Yeah. I have another friend who this past weekend was working and some of our other friends were out frolicking together because we weren't working. And, there was a bit of, oh no, I have to work. And I'm like, there's an opportunity. And I was really, really glad to see a couple of social networking posts that she made with beautiful things about the work that she was doing. She works in the arts and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm so glad that she's in that moment. She is a very mindful person. So it's not completely surprising, but it's all in the way that you look at it. And if you want to, hopefully it's come across in the description. It did. If you want to dive deeper into this mindset journey, you can always reach out to me or Coach Kendra directly. You've got us here on Facebook, or if you're watching this replay on YouTube, you can leave it in the comments and we'll get back to you if you'd like some personal attention, or you can go to schedulegild.com to schedule a breakthrough session with me. But we also have our Master Your Mind 5-day challenge. And
very exciting. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, and that is approaching very quickly. This video is being recorded toward the end of April 2021, but since it'll be up for a while, I'm letting you know that May 17th, 2021 is our next challenge, but that link will be good for you whether you are watching this before or after that time, because we do the challenge periodically, at least 3, maybe 4 times a year. So you can still go and check that out and participate as well. So if you'd like to really dive in and invest in yourself, the 5-day free event is, like I said, free, and it will really help to jumpstart your mindset journey.
Yeah, it's a great place to start. It really is. So excited. So many people love that too.
Yes. And we just had our first anniversary of doing that challenge. And I love a year later seeing some of the people who were our inaugural participants coming back and saying, oh, I'm so glad that you're still doing this. This has helped me. And some of them are going to be group leaders for it. And so it's a really neat opportunity.
Yeah, that's great.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining me as usual.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We are glad to have you here today on this beautiful day and share our topic today, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
always a joy to be with you, Kendra.
Thank you, Jane. I miss you. I mean, I see you.
We don't live near each other, so we don't get in-person time, but that time is coming quickly.
And we've both been really busy with business and other things and play. Jane's been doing, and I've been playing a lot too.
Maybe we should talk about that next week, how mixing new things in helps you to grow.
That sounds good.
And I hear a lot of people that's actually, why don't we do that next time we meet, we'll do that. And I'm not sure where we're going live. So just make sure that you're following this page and that you're in the Gilded Life group and the Creator Circle, because we'll be in one of those places. But
you'll see us around.
From you learning how to lay tile, which is something that I'd never really dawned on me to do to me. Learning how to play golf. I do hear so many people who are, in their late 30s, early 40s, 50s or beyond saying, oh, well, it's too late for me to start that. And I'm like, it's never too late for you to start anything. I once knew a woman who was nearing 80. This was when I was younger. It was an older lady that my mom was friends with when I was younger. And she said, I had always wanted to learn how to play the piano, so I started to take lessons at 78. You know, it's about experiencing the joy. So let's do that next time.
Yeah, and I'll give you some tips on the best way to, or some tips on how to start something new, because there's some mindset things that are in.
Always comes back to mindset, people.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.